All right, good morning, everybody. It's been a while. Okay, so we got SPY clearly breaking out to the upside. Nice dip by the hourly trigger. And we got ES in the bearish LDPM orientation. So we got daily on top, then 4 hour, then hourly, then half hour, then 15, then 5. So important levels right here. See if that breaks. You also know SPY just rejected the top here. So I'm not keen on going long just yet. I did hit a teeny little scalp here, but sold too early. And then over here, you guys can see it as well with the fib LDPM orientation where you got the 89 on top, then the 55, then the 34, then the 21, then the 13, then the 5. So really, when we're stacked bearishly, the goal is to short pops. For example, right here, short pops. I like the 4 hour or the daily. Usually you get a pretty strong rejection. Now remember, that's when the LDPMs are stacked bearishly like they are here. So whenever the LDPMs are stacked, highest time frame on top, and then all the lower time frames, you're trying to short pops. Also here, highest time frame on top, all the lower time frames, you want to short pops. When it's stacked opposite, let's say here, so you have hourly 5 on top of 15 on top of half hour, on top of hour, 4 hour on top of daily. That's where you want a long dips at 4 hour LDPM or daily LDPM. So here we're still in a short the rip orientation. So not really in a rush to go long just yet. There's also extremely low volume and a whole lot of chop today. So I feel like that's very important to keep in mind. I don't know if we can expect any big winners right now, but hopefully things clear up at some point. That would be the dream. We'll see if it ends up happening. Yeah, Andrew, the 5-minute trigger was not keen on price getting through just yet. So GME, we moved up again to the daily trigger, and that's where we had its rejection. But what's pretty cool about the move was that if you look at the velocity, clearly this thing wants to run here. Now, daily trigger got in the way, but pretty impressive how price moved from the hourly trigger to the daily trigger without any bearish divergences. So, if there was ever a time for GME to be able to get through here, it would probably be off a retracement to the 5-minute trigger and then maybe pop above. Obviously, once the LDPMs were stacked bullish in the lower time frames, that was right here. This is going to move up to the next time frame, which is the weekly LDPM. So remember, anytime you have these bullish crossovers, 4-hour crossing above daily, always expect price to move to the next LDPM level, which in this case was the weekly LDPM. Now, if price and the daily LDPM can get above here, then we're going to expect this move up to the 2-week LDPM. Let's go back to SPY here. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much opportunity to take trades right now. What I would say is that, maybe if we get that breakdown below here, then we can start getting short for the day. I tried to get short here due to the bearish orientation, and unfortunately I got stopped out for a loss. Even though we had an hourly bear close, you guys see 10 right here, 955. Bear close below this level. I tried to go short, did not work out, as you guys can see. So things definitely pretty choppy in here. I'm not really looking to trade this range, although, if you want to be cheeky about it, you can buy at this level, sell at this level every time until it stops working. But I'm not really interested in teeny small scalps today. I want to just wait until the market picks a direction, and then I'll try to trade that direction. Also, another important, like right here, I'd probably go short, but I don't know if this level is going to hold or not. And so that's why I'm not. But I do think we're going to end up coming down here, most likely. So I would where's the rectangle? I think we'll end up down here. Now, if we get a bullish trigger cross, 1 minute trigger crossing the 5 minute trigger, I'll probably go long there. Because at that point, even if it doesn't work out, you could just set an easy stop loss back below the 5 minute trigger and just ride it, see where it takes you. But I really don't like the way the LDPMs are stacked, and so my main bias is not to be going long right now. I just don't want to fight the LDPMs. Now, also keep in mind that in this week's report, there's clearly a lot of uncertainty, and so in my mind right now, for example, in the beginning of last week, it was very, very easy because we knew about all the put selling and we're obviously bullish. And so the second the market opened on Monday, I just sold a ton of puts, bought calls for the end of the week, and then just scalped every upside move. So that was easy last week. This week, quite different. VOEX moved a little too fast from the propagation zone to the inhibition zone, which is a little worrisome. And so, although in general, VOEX being in the inhibition zone is obviously bullish, erraticness, or VOEX moving quickly from propagation to inhibition or quickly from inhibition to propagation, it shows a lack of stability. And unstable stocks tend to go down, as we see all the time. So that's why, although we're technically bullish, it's hard to be confidently bullish. And especially with LDPMs looking like this. So there is the short. You guys took it. It's hard to be confidently bullish here. And so that's why I'm just being very cautious. I wrote in the report, I'm not going to be trying to jump into anything longer term. Everything's going to be like a shorter term scalp for me here. And we'll just see if a trade shapes up. See, I wanted that short, but I didn't take it because I don't want to trade it for 10 cents. Then we get a strong bounce off this 449.57 level and the 449.63 level. So what I'm really waiting for is for an hourly close below this level, and then I'll start getting short and looking at these lower targets. But I don't really want to get short at all until there's a full bear close below this level. You can see here, 1029, we just had a bull close above this level. So even if we sell down here, I don't care. I'm not gonna try to short against the levels, especially if you see all this chop and you understand that we're trading with lower volume here. So it could sell down, but I'm just trading with the levels right now. And obviously, LDPMs are all stacked bearishly. Come back here, same thing, all stacked bearishly. So LDPMs are most definitely bearish here. But again, with lower volume and the market clearly chopping sideways, I'm not trying to guess when the breakout's going to be. I kind of want to just see it. And even if we end up having to go short, below these levels, at least it'll be a confident trade and you just scalp that one level and then you move on. So for me right now, it's all about patience, wait for the market to give us direction instead of trying to force the market, instead of trying to give our direction to the market. So just to add everything together, we have a pretty flat trigger signal. So one on top of five, but one and the five, five on top of one, which obviously isn't bullish, but they both are above the hourly trigger, which isn't bearish either. So pretty neutral on trigger signal right now, but we'll have direction soon enough, whether that's the one and the five crossing down or whether that's price bouncing and the one crossing back above the five. LDPMs are all bearish, that's for sure. And then you have a bullish close above 449.57. So if you want to go short based on LDPMs, LDPMs are obviously the most powerful out of all three because they're showing you real-time liquidity. So you can go short and just cut the short if 5-minute LDPM, this purple line moves back below price. That's the valid short. If you want to respect the level and you don't want to take that short, that's also fine. It's all about, I guess, how risk averse you are. So for me, when everything lines up, that's when I take trades. When everything doesn't line up, if I really have like a conviction based on the data, that's when I'll take a smaller size trade. But now, when I have no conviction based on the data, when the level was bullish and LDPMs are bearish and trigger signal is just neutral, I have no need or reason to try to go in and force anything. To me, it just makes the most sense to simply just wait. So that's my thought process coming into this week. If there's something really good, take it. If not, not. Checking it back on Zoom. Never moved this at all, but here was the original trade. Right when we had that hourly trigger crossing the daily trigger, with an invalidation below the daily trigger and a target up here at 75, which is just previous resistance. Not too complicated. This trade did really well, obviously. I sold put spreads on Friday, and right now they are up 29%. So I think I'm just going to hold on to these. They expire next week. I don't see a reason to close them out just yet. So, obviously I closed my calls too early, but I don't want to hold them through a 3-day weekend, and I made plenty of money off them. So I'm good over there. So we got 25 minutes left to see the next close. Maybe we'll get a trade, maybe we won't. For GME, hourly velo just picked up, if you guys see, behind the 5-minute velo right here. So a little more strength now. Very nice, actually. So pretty strong bounce off the hourly trigger, for sure. Wow, this thing is just going to go, isn't it? Yeah, so kind of regret selling my calls a bit. But what are you going to do when you have a 3-day weekend? So looks like we're probably going to end up coming down to 448.95. Again, if you want to short based on LDPMs, that's fine. You don't have to follow what I do exactly because I don't mind not taking the trade the whole day. I'm more just chilling. If you want to trade based on LDPMs, you still have a great chance of winning. So LDPMs are bearish right now. If you go short, you don't have to cover until there's a 5-minute candle close back above 5-minute LDPM. So I'm thinking maybe retest the 5-minute trigger and then come back for another push. We'll see. You also use 1-minute LDPM to stop out if you want. So yeah, it looks like this is cracking here. I'll show you hourly velo. You'll see hourly velo just step down a lot, past 8 minutes. So we can't expect the hourly trigger to be as strong as it was here. So now bulls are a little more vulnerable here with that lower hourly velocity print, but they did have the bull close at 1029, which means that at any point during this half hour, price can easily pop above 449.57 out of the blue and come back and attack 450.15, which is why I didn't take the short in the first place. And this is probably going to hurt at some point if it really goes to 75. So I have 50 calls here, but whatever. No use mourning over it. It's a great trade. So just again, oh, and here comes the LDPMs moving into the most bullish orientation. So very simple. What happened here? You got the 4-hour crossing above the hourly, crossing above the daily. Pop up here, initial rejection, but the LDPMs in the lower time frame stayed strong. Once you get these bullish crossovers, like right here, the daily crossing above the weekly and the 2-week, that's when you start getting that acceleration and that push higher. So 21 minutes left to see if we have a trade here or not. Hopefully we do. I'd like to take something with you guys today. But again, if it's just not there, no need to force. Always remember that some weeks are going to be a lot easier than others. So last week was one of the easiest weeks we had in a very long time, but not every single week is just going to be, so simple and so easy like that. So that's something very important to keep in mind here, is that this week things just aren't simple, and it's just not going to be that easy, and that's really okay. Nothing wrong with that. Let's check in on Tesla. I don't have any levels for Tesla. That's the problem. Oh, wow. This looks like a pretty significant airplane. Hourly trigger coming down to the daily trigger, price breaking above both of them. This potentially could be very bullish. All right, let me see if I can get the Tesla levels. Hold on. $255.69 is the next Tesla level. Okay, so if the 5-minute trigger crosses above the hourly trigger, that may provide a trade here. And we also want to see 15-minute LDPM cross above 4-hour and hourly LDPM cross above hourly. And then we could probably just get long Tesla for the day. Now, it did have the bull close above this level, above the 249.44 level. And so very possible it is on its way to 255.76. I personally want to wait for a little more confirmation, especially if you see the 5-minute velo coming down. That means there's going to be less and less support at the 1-minute trigger. But this is a textbook airplane setup, price moving through the daily and the hourly triggers. So, this could be very explosive and could end up here by the end of the day. Still got 18 minutes left to a beer close. But again, you guys saw the hourly velo starting to sink. So unless something like significantly changes, this looks like it's going to end up resolving bearishly, to me at least. So what I want to see the most is a bullish cross, a pullback to the 5-minute trigger, go long at the 5-minute trigger, and ride it up to this level. But obviously, LDPMs are going to have to, behave well for that to happen. Also broke through daily LDPM here. So in all likelihood, at the end of the day, we're going to be up here at some point today or tomorrow. But in all likelihood, it seems like we're going to get above here before we break back down below this level. Now, again, with 5-minute velo, first of all, showing a clear divergence here from this high to this high, and the 5-minute velo stepping down slowly. More than likely, the 1-minute trigger is going to lose support at some point and come back down here or pushing up again. But there is a chance that it keeps going, makes a second bearish divergence, and then a third into this level. but I'm only going to take the long if we get that 5-minute trigger across, retrace to the 5-minute trigger, and then hopefully move up to this level. So trade isn't there yet, but it could be in like 20, 25 minutes or so. No need to rush it, in my opinion. If I miss it, I miss it. Tesla, Rivian, Lyft, Apple, Asan, Bava, SoFi. Okay, interesting. Keep an eye on them. You get a retest, those all could be good longs. So don't get excited by these small moves because again, we've seen a couple of small moves and they all turned out to be chopped. So we still really don't have any clear direction. Trigger signal is flat right here, so we want to really wait till it goes long or short before taking a position. We don't have to trade the choppy part, the flatness of it. So we could pop up here to the 5-minute trigger, come back down, pop up, come back down. That's not really what I want to be trading unless, you want to hyper scalp it, which is fine. I'd do that if I was off stream. It's a lot easier. But in general, I'm not going to get too excited with this move when, the LDPMs are still stacked pretty bearishly. I'd want to see like a full, if I'm going to turn bullish again, I want to see a full flip. So I want to see this upside down, which is going to take a lot of work by bulls. So I think Tesla might end up being a better play if things keep working out the way they are right now. Another thing that we could look for if we want to take a trade, just step up to the higher time frames, and I guess all we really need is SPY. But if we see the vast majority of large market participants turn green on the 15-minute LDPM, then at that point you have to assume, even with the bearish orientation, at that point you have to assume that now we might be able to do some flipping. So not yet, but if we see SPY, Meta, Amazon, Google, Berkshire, all get bullish 15-minute LDPM crossovers because it's a larger time frame. There's a way more likelihood that we could end up starting to move through these LDPMs. Now, probably sell them at the 4-hour or at the daily, and then wait because initially there's probably going to be a rejection, kind of like we saw here and here, and here. But after we get out and watch LDPMs, if they could start getting some crossovers to the bull side, that's when a real trade might present itself. So Jamie didn't even pull back to the 5-minute trigger, which kind of makes sense because there is no bearish divergences on the way up. But again, that's showing strength, and that the sellers at the daily trigger aren't that strong. And here comes our retracement for Tesla after the bearish divergence on a big move higher. So sometimes when you have such a big move, even one bearish divergence can start a pullback. And especially if the stock is just hanging out at its 1-minute trigger while its 5-minute velocity starts slowly coming down. It's always important to watch. So all we want to see is the 5-minute trigger continue climbing, price not selling back through both of them. And if we get that bullish crossover and price pulls back to the 5-minute trigger, that's the long opportunity, as long as LDPMs agree. And then stop loss below the 5-minute trigger, or stop loss if the 1 crosses back below the 5, and try to ride it up all the way here. Again, still no direction on the triggers. We do have direction on the levels, so the bull close, so all this is expected. But no direction on triggers until either the 1 crosses back above the 5 or the 1 and the 5 cross below the hourly. Okay, so this is probably a long up to 450.15. I'm not gonna take it per se because I would want to see like a 15-minute candle close above 15-minute LDPM. but in all likelihood, the price is about to push up to 450.15. Again, I'm not really in here to scalp pennies. It's much harder for me to do that on stream. But if I was, this would be a long trade that I'd take for 450.15. You can see this break above 15-minute LDPM. There's going to be the push. There it is. So again, if I wasn't streaming, that would have been a trade that I took, but I didn't even have my phone in my hand, so I couldn't get the trade fast enough. But again, I mean, you could hyper scalp if you want. I don't know if that's exactly what I want to do right now. And like I said, once you get these 15-minute bullish crossovers, more than likely price is going to push up to 4-hour daily again. So very possible there's still some room, maybe 450.53 next actually. And then that's where you would expect the rejection right here. And then after that, after the rejection here, you would either get these bullish crossovers finally, and that presents the real long, the one that you could sit in, or you're going to come right back down. So a lot of times, like when there's chop like this, I'll just use 15-minute LDPM to take micro scalps because I know there's going to be that initial acceleration higher once 15-minute LDPM turns bullish. But and it looks like we rejected hourly this time. But it's not a trade that I'm interested in right now. So funny that every time I stream, the market is doing nothing. And then every time I don't stream, that's when we get all the movement. So I mean, you guys see exactly what I see. Like this is just not much going on here, right? Where is it? So we're trading in just the 0.27% range whole day so far. Right? Really no trend at all, no direction. So this is like again not your best trading environment. So another thing I would say is probably helpful is whatever size you usually use, I would probably use a lower size to trade here. I'd probably trade with less size than usual. And look, if price goes up to attack this level straight, then it does. For me, I really only want the long if the 5-minute trigger crosses above the hourly trigger. If you're going by levels, then more than likely price is going to come up here at some point. So it really depends on you if you want to go by the levels or if you want to wait until the 5-minute trigger crosses above, get that retest, and then go long, which means you might miss the move up to 450, up to 255.71, whatever it is. 69, I think it is. So we're going to move to this level here, 450.43. And then that's where, I would have sold the first long, wait until I can see if there's going to be a hard rejection or the bullish LDPM crossovers. And that's when I decide if I'm going to go long or if I'm going to short the rejection. But we're going to get up to 450.43 here. Yeah, so Tesla, unfortunately, didn't exactly follow the plan, which is fine. But obviously, you guys could all see how bullish it is with this break above daily LDPM, break above 4-hour LDPM, this bullish crossover here. So there's always that risk that it could just explode higher at any point. For me, the best long only looked like if we had a bullish 5-minute crossover. So I'm just trading it super conservative. Still going to probably get up here. And then again, if we start seeing this 1-minute trigger cross, 1053, we have to wait a while for hourly velo. But again, this can get bullish. I just don't think we're there just yet. Wow, so that shit yeeted. This is going to be your second bearish 5-minute divergence here. And then this would have been the long, waiting for 5-minute LDPM to turn bullish. As soon as that happened, because you're above all the other LDPM, as you guys can see here, all green, as soon as you get the 5-minute to turn green, that's an automatic long. All right, does that make sense? When all LDPMs are green, besides the 5-minute, and then the 5-minute turns green, that's when you really want to go long. You never want to go short when all LDPMs are green, just the 5-minute turns bearish. Because that's just saying pull back, but then we're going back up. So SPY is now closing some candles above the 5-minute trigger. You guys can see here the immediate rejection. Now you already have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles above the 5-minute trigger, but we also had a bearish close at 450.15. Here's where we closed 1029 right here. So we're really just trapped between these two levels right here, which is why I didn't even have my brokerage app open, because I know I'm not really interested in taking any trades until we have a lot more clear direction. So although it looks like every time I jump on stream, there's never any trades, at least you guys could see, what we look for when we want to take trades and what we look for when we don't want to trade, like right now. So 5-minute trigger is about to cross, and any pullback to the 5-minute trigger, I think is going to be a strong buy to the move up here. Either that, or it's going to just make that one final push. It'll be your third bearish divergence, and then we'll come down. So because we made a new high right here, I wouldn't count it yet, because I would want to see, if this was the top of the move, or we're going to climb a little bit higher and then pull back. So I wouldn't necessarily count it just yet, but it looks like it's going to be the second bearish divergence. So yeah, it did technically push up towards 4-hour LDPM. I would have expected it to at least tap it, but it came a little short, just like here, I guess. So more than likely, still going to move up here and attack it, because we fell too short here. So I'm going to expect this level to still get hit, 450.53 to still get hit. But from there, that's when we're going to see if it's just going to be a hard rejection back down. To know that, we'll see 5-minute LDPM moving up above price, or if it can start getting through the 4-hour LDPM, and more than likely, we're going to end up turning bullish today and have a nice move to the upside. This, a bullish close above 450.85 up to here, that could present a nice long. I do have a feeling Tesla's just going to push all the way up here before ever touching the 5-minute trigger. But this, yeah, at this point, this is going to be the second bearish divergence. So I don't really want to go long after 2 bearish divergences. Even if I miss the move higher, there's just a lot of risk down to the 5-minute trigger. Now, again, textbook airplane setup. So even with its bearish divergences, it's got a lot of acceleration right now, and it could just keep flying. That's for sure. But I like to stick to the safer entries. And so even with all bullish LDPMs, I just don't really want a long until a 5-minute trigger retest. But if you guys are a little more risk averse, I do think price is probably going to get up here without touching the 5-minute trigger. And that's because of all the bullish LDPMs and this airplane right here. Okay, so again, pretty steady progress above the 5-minute trigger here. That's pretty good for bulls. ES right at its hourly LDPM. Still nothing. This may look like a lot of price action to you, but if I do this, you'll see that really nothing happened. We've just been consolidating between the hourly and the 5-minute, hourly and the 5-minute. So don't be overzealous to take a trade here when we don't have any direction. Although I'm starting to lean a little more bullish. Again, all of this is just guessing. Obviously, you just wait for our indicators to tell us what's going to happen, but I like to just try to guess what's going to happen. Now, again, these two guys are very important. We cannot be bullish until we get a full crossover. So this one, this one, this one, this one, all crossing above purple. So until that happens, we can't be fully bullish, but I'm still waiting for price to tag our 450.53 level. That hasn't happened yet. I still think that should happen here. You can see prices at hourly LDPM and 5-minute and 15-minute is not coming up to move above price. So that's telling you that there's no resistance here. You're going to expect it to push higher. So 11 a.m. Oh, wow. So look at that. There's a beer close going into this level. So kind of annoying. Things don't line up perfectly here, but I still think we're going to tap 450.53. Yeah, we're going to tap it, and we're going to head up here to 4-hour LDPM probably. So there it is. 5 more cents here. Problem is just the levels and the LDPMs are just not lining up today. That's what's making this really difficult and frustrating. Not too frustrating because I knew there probably wasn't going to be too much opportunities for trades today. So there it is, level hit. If we get through or not, that I'm not sure. Truth is, these are older levels. Gavin really just had 450.85. There's the 4-hour touch. Now we'll see if it's going to lead to rejection or if we're going to be able to get through and above. Now notice when price was here, 5-minute LDPM did not move above price. And that's telling you that there's no resistance at the 1-hour LDPM, meaning price can push above it. And when price pushes above 1-hour LDPM, that's when you expect that acceleration up to 4-hour LDPM. So pretty simple trade over here for that quick squeeze higher. And now the 1-minute trigger is more than likely going to cross above the 5-minute trigger. And I'd say 450.85 is going to get hit next. Even with all these bear closes, and the fact that 5-minute LDPM is still pointing away from price, as price nears a huge liquidity level, that tells you that we're going to be able to break through the liquidity level, move on to the next one, which is going to be daily LDPM right here. So obviously things are looking a lot more bullish here, and we're attacking this as well. So we're going to expect this to fail here, even with 5-minute pointing away, but not at the LDPM level. We're going to expect it to push a little higher. And then at some point here, that's probably where we're going to get a fail. Now, even after the initial fail, then we might get that bullish crossover. But usually price can't push all these. Usually price won't be able to push through all the LDPMs at once and just continue exploding to the upside. Usually you see like even over here, if it gets through, until and unless all these lower time frame LDPMs cross above, you can't really be fully bullish. So there's that perfect daily LDPM rejection. I think GameStop just had its first divergence. Yeah, that's our first bearish divergence for sure. Nice spot. Yeah, I mean, look at these consolidations. It's so strong. Price is like barely even pulling back. So yeah, I mean, I definitely expect Tesla to get up here, 255.27. Put our rectangle there. Definitely expect this to get hit at some point today. Don't know exactly when it will be, but I most definitely expect that hit. Now, I would love if there's a pullback to the 5-minute trigger so that I can actually get long. But regardless, I think that's going to get hit. So we're going to move up to 450.85 here. Looks like we're going to break through daily LDPM as well. 5 minutes still pointing away, so showing lack of resistance at these huge levels, which means that we're going to be able to get through. And that's why I said, once price breaks above 15-minute LDPM, you can really just take a long, and then over here you can sell it and wait if there's going to be a fail or a crossover. But I don't know, when I stream, it's so much harder for me to take trades because I'm like either too concentrated or not concentrated enough on the actual trading. But I seem to have a much easier time forecasting price when I'm streaming. So it's interesting. Be cool if GameStop gets through the daily trigger. We'll check back in on that. I'll leave an alert here. So yeah, some days you're gonna have triggers, LDPMs, and levels all line up with each other, and everything's gonna look great and it's gonna be easy to trade. And some days you're gonna have bullish LDPMs or bullish triggers, and the levels are gonna be bearish, and it's gonna be tougher to decide which one you want to go after. And so for all those trades, you can just either trade it with smaller size than usual and save your full size for when all three line up. Because when all three line up, that's when you have your best chance of making money possible. Today is one of those days where things aren't lining up perfectly. And so it's definitely going to be a little harder. So now that we got through here, we got to wait to see if it's going to fail or if 5-minute LDPM and all these other LDPMs are going to be able to get these bullish crosses, and then we'll be bullish again. Wow, and Zoom is just powering higher. Oh, wow. Well, at least my put spread's doing well. I'm up, let's see, 39% now, $560. So not terrible. Obviously, could have made a lot more if I kept the calls, but I turned my calls into a put spread right before the weekend so that I could take advantage of theta instead of getting beaten by theta. So the real question is if Tesla's going to make its third divergence into this high, into this level, or if we're going to pull back first and then attack the level. Judging by our bullish LDPMs, I feel like it's a lot more likely that price just attacks here. But from my own trading, I would only take the trade on a pullback to the 5-minute trade. So did we hit it yet? Okay, yeah, here we go. 1107. So we never technically had a bear close against this level because we didn't tap it yet. We're about to here. And then, if price gets through here, if we get a bull close, then we can take that long up here. So the long was on the first candle close above 15-minute LDPM. That was really the long. Let's move this. And that's how that's usually when price gets out of its choppiness. So if you're watching the 5-minute, which I usually do, and you're not really having successful trades, and you guys could see here in the 5-minute, like you see a chop here. Finally, it ended up getting that break. But if you're not having success using 5-minute crossovers, then just flip it to 15. And once you get a 15-minute crossover on, a lot of these guys, at that point, you can start getting into your positions. Probably going to bounce off the 1-minute trigger here and continue higher, but in my heart, I hope that it slices right through so that we could get that long off the 5-minute. But in my brain, I know this is going to bounce and continue higher. At least that's what I think. Check back into it. So yeah, I mean, this long was so obvious to me back here once price moved above 15-minute LDPM, but for some reason when I stream, it's just so much harder for me to actually take positions. Also, keep in mind, just got a bullish crossover on the 1 and the 5. I don't think Tesla's going to lose the 1-minute trigger. I think it's going to stay here for maybe a bit, but then end up pushing up and making another high. Of course, we did not have a bullish hourly close above this level, so no interest in going long here. What I do want to see is if SPY can get these bullish crossovers and ES can get these bullish crossovers, and then that's when I would want to get long. This looks good. This is usually what you'd see before a break. So you notice here the immediate rejection, and then here immediate rejection, but even the 1-minute trigger caught it. So bulls are obviously a lot stronger here than they were here, where price knifed right back through the 1-minute trigger. Already says, I thought the ES1 LDPM lines didn't work correctly. I'm not sure why you thought that. They work pretty well for me. Definitely looks like there's a chance here to get these bullish crossovers. But again, this happens all the time. Price can get through here. But then before these bullish crossovers, pretty much like we saw here, get that knife back down. Now, personally, I cannot have a bearish outlook with, all bullish LDPMs. I would just want to wait for these crossovers before I get long myself, out of safety, out of, precaution. Because of how the lines are calculated and something having to do with the off market. I don't know. I never heard about that. For me, they always work pretty well. So yeah, I really think Tesla's going to move up here. For Justin, I don't know. I find them to be a lot more accurate than SPY. So that's why I use them, but I'm watching SPY on my other screen. So, by the way, this is actually a really strong trade. It looks like very small, but with like 5 Tesla weeklies, that's like a $200-300 trade right there. Just saying. Now again, I'm very risk adverse, so even though I totally think we're headed up here, I still don't want to take the trade until get a pullback to the 5-minute trigger. With all bullish LDPMs, it just looks like we're going to head up here. So yeah, I found that ES LDPMs actually work a lot better than SPY. So that's why I have ES here instead of SPY. But SPY LDPMs are actually a lot more bullish than ES now that I think about it. If I show you guys SPY, you'll see that we're actually in a bullish orientation with the 2-week on the bot. Oh, it's not on here, but daily, then 4-hour, then hourly, and you got the 5 and the 15 below here, but they look like they're going to get bullish crossovers soon. So this break above the hourly, honestly, probably a very good chance that SPY is going to continue a lot higher today. 11:13. I would want to see a bull close above 450.85, and that sets up the long up here. So I'll keep SPY on here for you guys, but it really looks like we're going to end up just pushing up. One minute and 5-minute below looks good. I think this is going to go up here. I'm already going to put the next rectangle up. That's where I think we're headed. Now, I'm still not going to trade it. because we didn't have a bull close above 450.85 yet, but I do think we're going to come up here. Just, it's not something I personally want to trade. That's all. In 15 minutes, if we get the bull close, I would definitely consider it. And I'll probably go long. If we get the bull close, I'm going to go long. That's a trade I'm willing to take. That's the trade we pointed out earlier, one that looked like it made the most sense. I do like 5-minute velo on this push. I'll show you guys here. So 1-minute velo looked very healthy, and 5-minute velo is also looking very healthy. So no red flags here on this push higher. And when there's no red flags, you're going to assume it's going to be able to complete the move. Just remember that in order to justify this long, you really need a bull close above 450.85. So this is contingent on us closing above here, either at 11:30 or at 12 or at some point today. Okay, I really hope this sells. I need this to sell. So I want that long off the 5-minute trigger. But I just don't think it will. Seems a little too strong to sell down, to be honest. Just judging on, how bullish the LDPMs look like. It just looks too bullish to sell all the way down here right now. So I think it's going to continue to ride its 1-minute trigger all the way up here, unfortunately. I think I'm just going to start getting long already. I really don't want to miss the move higher, but at the same time, it doesn't feel right taking a long before that bullish close. But to be honest with you guys, at this point, I'm pretty sure we're going to head up here. So I'm personally going to wait another 14 minutes. Either the trade is there or the trade is not there. You guys do whatever you feel is right. Because I don't mind missing the trade. I had a great week last week. I'm not in a rush to spend my money at all. What I am concerned about is taking a trade without confirmation. And so that's why I'm personally just going to be waiting, but you guys don't have to do the same. Keep in mind that if you do wait, you may very well miss this move, because it could happen before the hourly close, or at least a good portion of it. So keep an eye out here for the 5 and the 15-minute crossing above hourly. Once that happens, SPY will be in its most bullish orientation, and then you can even get long without the bull close, because we're going to go to the next level. So originally I thought GameStop would pull back to its 5-minute trigger and then maybe break through. It came back again for another test before that. But let's see if it pulls back now and then goes for another shot. So I'm going to start putting calls on my watch list right here. So let's see. I would go for the 451 call, probably. 451 or maybe 452. I think 451 probably makes more sense here. Because then you get it in the money pretty quickly. So we got 12 more minutes. Let's check back in here. So we're getting some lower time frame bullish crossovers. What we need is these higher time frame bullish crossovers. If that happens, I will definitely be getting long. What I really want is to just sell down now so that I don't have to feel that constant FOMO that it might push higher without the bull close first. It's hard to look at Zoom right now, knowing how much money I could have made if I held. But, it hurts less knowing that I sold all those puts on Friday. Up 660 on those right now. So started off the week on a good note. Nice. This is what I really want to see. Now I want to see that pullback all the way to the 5-minute chart. What do you guys think? You guys think we get these bullish crossovers, or you think we get pulled back down before the bullish crossovers happen? Jimmy's second divergence. I would say this is one bearish divergence. Damn it. Right back. Okay. Hopefully we get more of a push down. Bullish crossovers incoming. Very possible. So the 5 already made it. Now you just need these lower time frames. I need Tesla to sell down to its 5-minute trigger. I don't have a lot of confidence in it happening though. This looks and feels a little too strong. Maybe if we get a third bearish divergence, but until then, I just don't see this happening yet. All right, so we got 10 minutes. Listen, another thing you can do is go long, and then if in 10 minutes price is below 450.85, then you cut the position. So you can enter a call spread to mitigate risk. Yeah, there is no real bearish divergences on SPY and velocity. So Velo is definitely pointing to more upside. That's absolutely true on SPY. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a successful bullish crossover. That's why I'm antsy to get into this long here. I think it's going to work too, but I will definitely wait. Just be patient until we get a bull close or not. Just not going to rush it. Now, something that is important to note is that Apple looks like it just made its third bearish divergence. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, third hourly bearish divergence. Right there. So maybe you count this as a pullback to the hourly trigger, but I don't really think so. There we go. So now SPY is selling down. So now I have a lot less FOMO. Now I feel much better for waiting. And Tesla selling down as well. So if we get super lucky, we'll get a pullback all the way to the 5-minute trigger. But we got to get really lucky. See, because the 15-minute LDPM is above the 4-hour, hourly, daily, weekly, and 2-week, we are going to expect this to provide support. And so that's why I don't necessarily think price is going to go all the way down to 5-minute trigger, because I think the 15-minute LDPM will catch it. So 5 got above hourly. If 15 gets above hourly, then that puts SPY in the most bullish LDPM orientation. And at that point, I'm going to assume that the rest of the day, SPY is going to attempt to get up to this level. I think this might be the only chance to get long, but it's fine. I'll play SPY instead, I guess. I only want Tesla on a 5-minute trigger retest. I've learned the lesson the hard way to get long when there's two bearish divergences. I actually did it on AMD on Friday, and it didn't work out for me. So that's why I just don't want to touch it. If you get the retest, fantastic. I'll take that long any day. But if you don't, then worst case, I miss this move up. Okay, 6 minutes left. This will be the deciding factor. If we go long or not here. I would love to see 15-minute LDPM cross above hourly if we're really bullish. Okay, so I think we're going to bounce off 15-minute LDPM. But we'll see. So here's what I would say. I would say now, if 5-minute LDPM turns bullish, then you could try that long again. For me personally, just for me personally, I'm being very risk adverse this week. A lot of mistakes I made in the beginning part of my career was that every time I had a big week, the next week I'd just be super willing to spend that money, very willing to spend it on anything that looked even half decent. And that's how I would give back so much of my gains. So what I learned from that is when you have a big week, be extra careful with your money as if you had a really bad week, and now you have to be extra conservative. That's helped me a lot. So there was like 6 trades today that I could have taken. Even before I got on stream, I saw a couple of trades, but none of them looked perfect. And so I just patiently waited. Like 3 or 4 of them worked out, the other couple didn't. But I'm only willing to deploy capital here on a perfect trade. And a perfect trade for me is a retest of the 5-minute trigger. And that's exactly where I'd buy. Now, in this case, I don't think we're going to get it because I think the 15-minute LDPM will hold. And then I think 5-minute LDPM will come below price. And then I think price is going to make that push up here. But I'm not trading based on what I think. I know there's 2 bearish divergences. And so that means in my rule book, don't go long until you have a retest of the 5-minute trigger, no matter how many potential gains there are. So that's just my mentality. Doesn't mean it has to be your mentality. You want to deploy capital once 5-minute LDPM turns bullish again. Even if you don't get all the way up here, you'll probably at least get the third bearish divergence, which is going to be a higher high than 253.87, just about $1.20 up where we are now. So let's keep a close eye on 5-minute LDPM. And if we get that bull cross, then potential long. And if we get really lucky enough for price to break below 15-minute LDPM and come all the way down to the 5-minute trigger, that provides a long once 5-minute LDPM turns bullish after this touch. So coming back to SPY, see here, so 5 and the 13 were able to get bullish crosses. 21, 34, 55, and 89 still not in the bullish orientation. Let's go back to the 5-minute here. You'll see everything red. Okay, there we go. There we go. I hope we're coming down here now. So again, still no great trades here besides for once price got that 15-minute candle close above 15-minute LDPM. That was the one great trade. but we had no idea if it would reject this level, or this level. So we just drew targets for all of them, and all of them ended up getting hit. We wanted to get long up here, but we waited for the bullish close, and there was none. So now we're back in level J. So bullish close above 450.85, we take that up. Otherwise, there's not much of a trade. So what we want to see, the next trade I'll take, if 5-minute LDPM moves below price, I'll take the trade, but it'll be like 5 contracts instead of 15. Like a third of the size that I would usually use, for example. But I think at this point, the dangers of like a sell-off today, I think are mitigated. Not positive here. But here's what I want to show you guys with ES and why I like looking at ES even more. On SPY, I would have been super bullish back there. But on ES, I knew that the LDPMs were still bearish orientation, and I knew that there's a good chance that even with price popping above daily LDPM, we're going to get that rejection. So on SPY, you couldn't really see that because on SPY, things looked a lot more bullish. Prices above daily, 4-hour, and hourly. But on ES, it's a little more clear that this is not where you want to go long. This is where, if anything, you want to go short, or if you want to wait until you get these bullish crossovers to make your decision. Okay. Now, by the way, when price loses 15-minute LDPM, but 5-minute LDPM is on top of 15-minute LDPM, even if we see something like this, even if you see like a little bit of selling below 15-minute LDPM, as long as 5-minute is on top of 15-minute, usually you'll still get a reversion back high. So be very careful about shorting when price loses 15-minute LDPM if 5-minute is still on top of 15-minute. So at this point, I think I'm willing, I'm definitely going to go long when 5-minute LDPM turns bullish here. Yeah, so unsuccessful crossover. Not going to go short here because, again, 5 is on top of these now. So there's a chance that we pull back higher. But that's why you really want to wait for bullish crossovers before taking a bullish position. Not just price breaking above this LDPM. You need all these lower time frames to cross as well. Now, again, it really comes back to that there was this one long. This was the one long trade. When price breaks above 15-minute LDPM like this, that's when you want to go long until 4-hour or daily. And then once we're at the 4-hour, we could see from 5-minute LDPM that it wasn't going to provide a resistance. And so you didn't really have to exit the trade until a couple of things. 1-minute LDPM moving above price, which first happened right here. So the trade would have been down here all the way up to 450.85. You can see 1-minute LDPM was below price this entire time, so no real need to sell. Or you could have waited for 5-minute LDPM to turn bearish, so you would have went long here, and you would have cut the position right here. Either way, 2 great trades. I mean, 1 great trade for the day, but unfortunately I was slacking and I missed it. Okay, so it's 11:32. If in 3 minutes this candle closes above 5-minute LDPM, then even though it's not perfect because price did not tap the 5-minute trigger, I'm going to go long, not full size, but just to have some exposure in case you get that push up here. So I'm going to wait until a full candle close. I never like going long until this candle closes because I've seen so many times where price will move above the LDPM level, but then before the time interval closes, so in this case 5-minute, it'll get crushed back down. So at this stage, I just like to wait until full 5-minute candle close. But we did mention that 15-minute LDPM was more than likely going to provide support. So we'll see. It's definitely not perfect. But in 2 minutes, we get a bullish 5-minute LDPM crossover. It's enough for me to just take some, it's enough for me to just take a position. Doesn't have to be huge, but I'm going to take a position. And I'll probably sell it if, I'll probably sell it either using 1-minute LDPM or stop loss below the 1 minute trigger, or just get a pop and sell. Like not even sell because of anything, but if I get like 2, 3 green candles in a row, then just get out of the trade. So 1 more minute here. If 5-minute LDPM closes the candle below price, that's the long. If it doesn't, wait another 5 minutes. And hopefully, the best trade is obviously the 5-minute trigger. So very cool, actually. Justin's developing something similar to velocity, where it's on the bottom. It looks kind of similar to velocity, and it tells you if price is going to be able to if price is going to be able to get the bullish crossover or not. So it's going to tell you like the odds if the lower time from LWMs will cross above and turn bullish, or if the odds are that it'll reject. So for example, if we had Justin's thing right now, it would have told us to expect this rejection and not be able to get a bullish crossover, which is very cool. Okay, so you see how the candle still closed below 5 in LDPM. So that means I don't want to go long just yet. I only want to go long after a full close above this candle. I don't mind missing out on upside. What I do mind is taking a loss. So even if it keeps going, I'm okay with it. I'm only going to take a long at the 5-minute trigger or in a full 5-minute candle close above the level. So again, is there a lot of action today? No. Is it an exciting day? No. But maybe, hopefully, we just get one trade out of it. At least my Zoom put spreads are printing. So I doubt I'm going to close them out. I think I'm just going to try to wait till expiration. So I have till September 15 for Zoom to stay above 70. And we're at 73.50 right now, so I have to drop 350 to lose that trade. So another thing we could do, and I like doing this in higher volume environments, not really lower volume environments like we're in right now, but if I take away everything besides the 5-minute LDPM, oh wait, it's right here. So sometimes I'll just take 5-minute LDPM trades, meaning every single 5-minute LDPM crossover, I'll take a trade. So for example, here, I'll go short. Here, I'd go long. Here, I'd go long. Here, I'd go short. And I would have lost on this trade. Maybe not lost, but like probably stop out, break even, something like that. Here, I would have probably stopped out, break even on this short. And then here, I would have made some good money. Here, I'd be in profit right now. So, if you really want, a lot of times in oh shit, did we miss this? Yeah. Oh well. A lot of times in high volume environments, you could just use 5-minute LDPM and take trades. You don't have to worry about anything else. Even though all of these will give you clues, 5-minute LDPM will give you the actual direction that's right in front of you. So something to keep in mind. A lot of days I'll just sit there doing that. So I'll just sit here chilling, playing chess, whatever, listening to music. And then every single time I get a ding, 5-minute crossing LDPM, I'll just quickly take a trade. I'll go from short, long, short, long, short, like that. Like obviously this short would have worked out very nicely. So if in 3 minutes you get that bull close, then you can take that long. But that's why, this is exactly why it's scary to go long when price moves above 5-minute LDPM until you get that full candle close. Because over here, price was above 5-minute LDPM, you would have thought, okay, max bullish, now I'm going to get long. But then 2 seconds later, the whole candle gets erased. And that's because if the 5-minute candle does not close above 5-minute LDPM, it's telling you that liquidity wasn't better for bulls. It's still better for bears. If you're trading it on the 5-minute time frame, you want to see bulls have better liquidity for a full 5 minutes. So I'm not sure where the most expected bounce is here. Either right back down to 449.57, or we're going to be able to pull back above here. So we did get a bullish close, 11.29 right here. which is progress from this close 1029 in between here. So we may move from this chop range right here to this chop range. And I think the best long of the day is any hourly close above 450.85 because that is a nice large air pocket to 452.09. Let's watch how Tesla continues to develop. Here's that GME pullback to the 5-minute trigger. And with the hourly velo strong like this, and the 3-hour look back positive, I'm gonna expect an airplane to form and maybe, just maybe, the price to be able to get above. Now, when I look at the LDPMs, usually you would need to see this get a lot tighter before a break. So you see how spread out they are, 1830 to 1934, daily LDPM and weekly LDPM. For a break above weekly LDPM, usually, not always, but what you'll see is these get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then break out in one direction. So it looks like we still have some selling to do. And again, this is exactly why I watch ES. It just gives you a much better idea of what's really going on. But we saw the same thing here. Because they were in the bearish orientation, the price came up here, you got to watch for that rejection and come right back down. 1140, it looks like this candle, I didn't see it, but it looked like the candle closed below. Truth is, I really didn't see it, so I'm not sure. Now again, just understand that what the divergences are showing you is that bulls are running out of steam here. They don't have enough ammo to keep this move going. And that's why you need a retest of the 5-minute trigger, because at the 5-minute trigger is where the algo is waiting to buy. It's not interested in buying up here. It wants to buy here. So when velocity runs out, you don't have enough buys up here to continue pushing price higher. But once you get back to the 5-minute trigger, that's when the buys start hitting, or not at the 5-minute trigger, but really once the airplane forms, that's when the buys start hitting, and that's when you can reset velocity for a higher push. Now, the reason why I like Tesla today is because it's pretty clear. Everything is almost all bullish. The only thing that you need is the hourly to cross the 4-hour. So because all the LDPMs are bullish and the 1 and the 5 are above the hourly, to me, this is the most likely to make that push higher, another $2-3 here. And we already had the bearish divergences, so we know as long as we could tap the 5-minute trigger and form that airplane, we could head right back up. So there's a decision for you to make if you want, assuming we get down here, is if you want to buy at the 5-minute trigger for the most possible reward, but also the most risk, or if you want to wait for the airplane to form. Now, what I like to do is I like to wait until price hits the 5-minute trigger, and then I wait until 5-minute LDPM closes a candle below price, and then I get long, knowing that usually most of the time I could stay in that long for a while and just let it bake until price moves up to our target, or until we see something outlandishly bearish. For example, price starting to move back up, and then all of a sudden, either we see like velocity does not look good at all, like extremely ragged on the initial push. We want to see velocity look really good on the initial push. Or you see like 5 and LDPM immediately flip back to bearish. That's like your red flags. Okay, it's not ready yet. And then you just exit the trade. But usually, if price resets at the 5-minute trigger and then 5-minute LDPM moves below price, usually that's a very decent long with a stop loss either below the 5-minute trigger, or if the 1-minute crosses back down below the 5. So again, if you just took this short on this 5-minute LDPM break, pretty nice profit here. So whenever you're trading on your own, you don't really have much of a clue in which direction the market's going, feel free to literally just trade 5-minute LDPM. You don't have to focus on anything else. And of course, you can use 1-minute LDPM to help you, get in and out of trades. So if you took this 5-minute bearish crossover, you look at my left screen, it's the same place from here to here. And then you could have been short and maybe stop out right here when 1-minute LDPM moves above price, moves back below price, sorry. So a bullish finding, something that would have me even more confident, is if instead of Tesla doing that, Tesla just does this. That would be so much more bullish. Tesla doesn't sell down to the 5-minute trigger, but instead just moves sideways until the 5-minute trigger comes up to price. So more than likely, we're going to see this airplane form and one more attack of the daily trigger. Now, if the third attack works, then we're going to be off and running, probably 2072 next for the weekly trigger. But if the third attack fails, then and we push back below these triggers, then expect a return to the hourly trigger. Okay, so 1144. Again, not that it's going to be a full-size position, but if 5-minute LDPM moves below price, I'm going to take a little bit of calls. Not a lot, but a little bit. Yeah, so still below. So no position for me in these 5 minutes. See these perfect rejections? So yeah, even though this is obviously starting to look bull, I still personally don't even want to take a starter until and unless I get that full candle close above. But I do like the way Tesla isn't selling hard into the 5-minute trigger. It's rather just pretty much moving sideways. Check back in here. Not much doing. This obviously looks bearish. LDPM orientation. So as you guys can see, there's no trend. It's the market's really, really flat today. So on these days, just simply understand that there's not that much opportunity. I don't have to watch the market every second. I can just either sell call spreads, sell put spreads on something, and then just walk away for the day. And there's no pressure to force trades when the market isn't really moving in a favorable trading environment. Like this is the least favorable environment for trading that we've seen since last week. This was movement. This is a trend. There's a lot of buys at the 5-minute trigger, airplanes, tons of scalps, level closes. This is just flat, right? We've been moving pretty flat. Friday, today. So again, if you really need a trade, I would say just use 5-minute LDPM. You'll get your trades there. For me, I'm going to continue watching Tesla until we take this Tesla trade, and then I'm going to close the stream. Hopefully we get it at the 5, but if in 3 minutes price is above 5-minute LDPM, I'm going to take a starter position, and then I'm going to sell it hopefully above this high because I know that's the third bearish divergence. Slow down. I don't want it to really push up until the 5-minute candle closes. Okay, so this looks like it's going to be the one, guys. This definitely looks like it's going to be the one. Yeah, look at that spike. Wow. So if you want to get long, feel free. I'm going to start getting long right here because of this huge spike, but I understand that I may have to end up stopping out of this position because I did not wait for the full candle close. So I started getting long, a couple of contracts. I'm going to go max 5 here because I don't like it fully. It's not perfect. So smaller size than usual. And I'll be ready to stop out if I need to. So we just need 1 more minute for price to stay above 5-minute LDPM. And we'll have that bullish LDPM crossover, and we could ride it up either to its third bearish divergence, just anything above here, or maybe to the level if we get really lucky, or just stop out below the 1-minute trigger. So definitely not going to fall in love with this right here. But if we do get that bullish crossover, then even though really we would want to see the 5-minute trigger, it's okay to take a small size position to not miss out on this move, just in case it is the third bearish divergence. So if I see this level, I'm probably going to sell. Okay, so we got the bull close above here. Now we have all bullish LDPMs. It's not stacked fully bullishly yet, but it's enough to justify a long position. And you can use a stop loss at the 1-minute trigger. Price moves below 250, 265. You can use a stop loss at the 5-minute trigger and then add at the 5-minute trigger. That might be what I do. Or you could just take a small size here, and if we make a new high, sell as soon as 1-minute LDPM moves above price. A couple of options. So again, it's very possible that this move is very ragged due to the bearish divergences and the fact that we didn't hit the trigger yet. But it's also very possible that we're still able to make the third bearish divergence. And so that's my play here. I'm playing the third bearish divergence. The reason why I didn't go full size is because that's not really a trade you want to go full size. Full size is if you get the airplane at the 5-minute trigger. For this, it's more of, can I get this quick dollar move right here and be out just as quick or not? As long as, price remains above 5-minute LDPM, I think we'll just slowly climb higher. So feel free to use the 1-minute trigger as your stop loss, or feel free to add at the 5-minute trigger, or feel free to stop out once 5-minute LDPM moves back above price for a full 5-minute candle. Totally up to you where you want to stop out the trade. I'm in very small size, so I'm not really going to get affected by this loss if it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, I think I can make 100, 200 bucks. So if you want to be really risk adverse, you could stop out here, right, if we break below this 1-minute trigger, because of course there is pretty big risk down to the 5-minute trigger. Or you could wait for a full candle close below this level. For me, I'm in a small position, so I'm really not sweating it. I'll probably stop out if we get this candle close below 5-minute LDPM. Trading is a lot more about knowing when to size up and when to size down than actually taking like the best possible entries. So as long as you understand the setup, you understand it's not perfect, and you don't go in like full size, you'll be okay even, if it doesn't work out. But if you're full sizing into setups that aren't perfect, that's the fastest way you can blow up your portfolio. So here and then 5-minute LDPM turning bullish would be the only place that I would size more than like 5 contracts. So another candle close above 5-minute LDPM, so no real reason to stop out just yet. Now again, we knew this had a very big possibility of happening, just not being able to get any acceleration higher because of the bearish divergences. But there's still a chance that we could put in the third bearish divergence. Even it might even be up here. So that's why I just wanted some exposure. And I'm not going to stop out unless there's a reason to. Either a break below the 1-minute trigger or a bearish 5-minute LDPM crossover. Until that happens, I'm just going to sit tight and see if we get lucky enough to get this move up, or if the two divergences are weighing it down too much and we're going to come back down here. So again, for the least risk, stop out on the first candle close below the 1-minute trigger for the least risk. If you want to be a little, extra risky, you can just stay in the position until and unless there's a 5-minute candle close below 5-minute LDPM. Now, this is starting to look a little ragged, as in, I don't know if we can shoot up just yet, but also understand that there's two bearish divergences here and price is still moving sideways while the 5-minute trigger comes up. So even if this trade doesn't work out, if you're in a small enough position where this move won't hurt you, you may just want to wait and then add at the 5-minute trigger, or cut and then, reload a bigger size position at the 5-minute trigger, because regardless, I still think we're going to end up here. It just depends, if we do it right now or if we have to tap the 5-minute trigger first. Most likely we have to tap the 5-minute trigger first, but that doesn't mean there isn't a shot that we can do it without it. So I'll stop out probably on like a 1-minute candle close below the 1-minute trigger. So maybe on this candle. Then I'm definitely going to try again at the 5-minute trigger with bigger size. So like I'm only down like $40 here, which is very manageable. So that's the candle close below the 1-minute trigger. So I'll stop out here and I'll try it again at the 5-minute trigger if we get it. So I stopped out just to be like, take on the least amount of risk. It very possibly could still push up again, and I might miss the move, but just being extremely risk adverse here. So yeah, it came right back through, and there wasn't a candle close below the 5-minute LDPM. So probably a much better idea to use the 5-minute LDPM as your stop out. Classic me, stopping out at the bottom. Question is if I should just hop right back in or just wait until the 5-minute trigger tap. You can just see how flat it is. It looks to me like it's ragged. So I don't think we'll see any sell down, like extreme sell down, especially due to the LDPMs. But what I am scared about is that this is just going to take like another hour of just sideways movement until we finally tap the 5-minute trigger. And then that's when I think it'll be ready to attack. So if you want to carry some light exposure for the risk that we might just head straight up without tapping the 5-minute trigger, that's fine. More likely than not, we're eventually going to tap the 5-minute trigger and move up here, in my opinion. That's what I think is like the most likely scenario. Trading is all about probabilities. But for me, it's fine. Look, if I miss this move, I miss this move. I'd rather just sit on the sidelines now that I stopped out, which I shouldn't have. But now that I did, I'd rather just sit on the sidelines until the 5-minute trigger tap. I might hop back in again with like another 2 contracts, but what I would love the most is if we can just tap the 5-minute trigger first. Okay, I'm gonna hop back in again with another 2 just so that I don't have to, keep thinking about it, that I might miss the move. Pretty big LDPM spike here. Oh yeah, Ori says we're getting a little boost from SPY here. See, I did hop back in with a little bit, a little late, but that's what shows you the importance of just waiting for 5-minute candle closes to enter or exit. I did not wait for the 5-minute candle close, and that made me stop out at the bottom instead of just adding there. That was a mistake on my part. If we get any new high here, I would sell it. But otherwise, I'm going to sit in the position a little bit longer. So we're back to this 450.43 level. I mean, everything looks bullish here, besides for the fact that we really need to tap this 5-minute trigger. Besides that, everything looks bullish. But I just don't know if we're going to be able to make a nice push until that tap happens. Again, I understand that it's not a perfect setup here, and so I'm not playing around with a lot of capital. If it works out, I'll make a little bit of money, nothing crazy. And if it doesn't work out, I'll lose a little bit of money. It's more so for the FOMO that I'm in, just to like protect myself from FOMO. So as long as I have a small size, I don't feel it as much. So I know I have exposure. So at this point, I would say my most expected thing is something like this. And then that would be like that would be my best guess as to what's going to happen. And then my second best guess is that we do this. And my third best guess is that we just come back down, but this I don't think is going to happen. And then go up. This is the one that I don't think will happen. I think, you know, all roads point to 255 something, 55.69. I think all roads point there. I could be wrong, but this is what I would say. I guess it would also help if SPY eventually gets a bull close. Over here, got a bear close against this level again, so we can't expect SPY to be helping us. Oh my God, Zoom just hit 74. So my sold puts are doing nice, but if I would have kept my calls, I would have been up like another 10K right now. Okay, I'm gonna delete all this because it's just getting in the way. But you guys know, you guys know what I'm looking for. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know how many of you guys were there for it, but a long time ago, SPY did something very similar. And then I like sent out a message like as soon as SPY hits the 5-minute trigger, go along to the level above. And then what happened was is that SPY got within like 20 cents and then just ripped to the upside. So because there's like a nice juicy move here, like a $3 move, I just don't want to miss it. Normally, I would never take this long with two bearish divergences. I just patiently wait until either I get the 5-minute trigger tap or, or I just won't take the trade. But because like this has so much potential here, also don't forget there was an airplane setup, which is even more explosive. Because there's that potential of price moving up here, I don't see any reason not to carry a little bit of exposure. Like if it goes wrong, only losing like what, $50, $70, like that I could live with. But it gets dangerous when you just keep trying and then you just keep losing that 50, $70 like 4 or 5 times, and then it turns into a $300 loss. So you got to know when. Maybe I'll try it once or twice, but if it doesn't work out, that's when you just leave it. Something that's helped me a lot in my trading was, because the thing that I struggled the most with was definitely FOMO. And so what helped me a lot with that was just when I think a big move is going to happen, but it doesn't look perfect, a small size position. That's what's helped me a lot in trading, because this way, if it doesn't work out, you take a teeny loss, and if it does work out, you had exposure to the move. But this way, you don't feel that FOMO and end up doing something that you end up regretting. So SPY, just a super flat day, not a lot of volume, not a lot of velocity. Look at the SPY velocity, right? 5-minute and hourly, very, very low. So again, not the best environment for trading. So I think, I'm hoping at some point today we end up here, this 255.69 level. The good news is that the longer we drift sideways, at least the 5-minute trigger will keep coming higher and higher. All the market makers are still in the Hamptons, I guess. Yeah, very possible. I mean, this is clearly not an environment you want to be trading here. Let's check back in here. So yeah, now we look like we have a much better chance of flipping bullish, happens to be. Now you guys can see it over here. There was this is already quite a big move. Now we're doing it when all these LDPMs are much closer. So if we can get above here, it'll take much less time to get these bullish crossovers. Not saying we're going to do it here, but I'm saying there's certainly a better chance. Feels like the 5-minute trigger, to be honest. It feels like it's not moving up at all. Feels like it's been here forever. But whatever, just chilling in this trade. We'll see what happens. If we get a bearish 5-minute crossover at that point, you can totally sell it. But if not, we could make the third bearish divergence either, anywhere up here, which could be a nice little gain, or even it's possible, unlikely, but we could get all the way up here. So what I would do is very simple. Once we move above this level, I would wait until 1 minute LDPM moves above price, and then I would quickly sell my entire position. That's obviously only if we get above this level. That's obviously only if we get above this alert. For now, this looks exactly what a bullish stock with two bearish divergences does. Just continues to drift sideways until 5 minute trigger moves up and taps price, and then moves up to the next level. And the fact that it had two bearish divergences and didn't even sell to the 5 minute trigger here, that again, 66% chance it sells down to the 5 minute trigger, 33% chance it doesn't. The times that it does, it's a little less bullish. The times that it doesn't, it's more bullish. And by the way, if we didn't have this airplane, this hourly trigger, daily trigger airplane, if we didn't have this, I wouldn't not have gone long even with 3 contracts. I'm only going long because I'm scared that this is going to be so strong that we're just going to end up here. That's the only reason why I'm long. That's the only thing that's giving me that FOMO, that pull to be long Tesla right here, is the fact that there was a bullish hourly trigger, daily trigger airplane. So Ori asks a very good question. How much do you weigh the fact that Tesla is already up 3.33% today when making your decision to enter a trade? When I see a level that looks attackable, then I'll enter regardless of how much the stock is up on the day. But usually, yeah, I definitely take that into account. So now the days that Tesla moves up 5, 7, 8% are days when we have bullish airplane setups. Hourly trigger, daily trigger airplane, daily trigger, weekly trigger airplane, something like that. So I don't mind it too much, but I just understand that if we start getting this nice push to the upside, I don't want to just sit in that position forever. I want to be looking to trim at the earliest sign, even if there's more upside, just to be a lot more safe. If Tesla was up 1% on the day, then I'd probably want to stay long for a little bit longer. A push from SPY would be nice. Like if we could get up here, that would probably help Tesla a nice amount. And I really think, here it did not, although I thought we would because we're pushing bullish, you look at it now, there's a much better chance of getting these bullish crossovers here than there was here. So let's see how this continues to develop. If we could get some bullish crossovers and then a bull close above 450.85, let's say at 1 p.m. in 50 minutes from now, it's a textbook long up here. So going back to GME for a second, you guys see this beautiful airplane that formed because hourly velocity was better than it was 3 hours ago. Now we're probably going to attack the daily trigger again. And if we break through, that'll be really, really nice. So yeah, again, you guys see this bullish crossover on SPY in the 15-minute LDPM. You can, even when there's chop, you can always go along with 15-minute LDPM bullish crosses. Always. Or bearish crosses, obviously. Now, the longer Tesla spends above its daily LDPM, the bigger the chances are that it ends up ripping to the upside. Similar to the way we're waiting for price to attack the 5-minute trigger before getting that explosive move, so too the hourly trigger. I mean, if the hourly LDPM crosses the 4-hour LDPM, we can also get that kind of like explosive move. So watch out here. If we make this new high, then feel free to sell it either the second we make the new high or the second 1 minute LDPM moves above price. So it looks like we are getting some movement here. Again, if you want to just take the gains and run, that's totally fine. Because it's a little bit unpredictable with the two bearish 5 minute divergences. But if you want to wait in the trade, then once we move above here, understand that that's the third bearish divergence. So you can either sell it immediately or you can wait until 1 minute LDPM moves above price and sell it. And the third option, if you're not worried about the divergences, is to simply keep waiting for 5 minute LDPM. And only when 5 minute LDPM moves above price, then you sell it. So those are the options here. I'm chilling because like it's a small position. So it's like I'm either going to get this new high and sell, or I'm just going to keep waiting and maybe even take a loss. I don't mind. Need to make it worth it for me to sell, and this little push isn't doing it for me. Okay, once that alert gets hit, I'm going to sell one. Okay, so sold one right here. And I'm going to hold on to the second two. If 1 minute LDPM moves above price, I'll sell one more. Then I'll hold on to the last one. So now I'm just going to sell one more. And now my last one is just when 1 minute LDPM moves above price. Now, normally I would obviously hold this, but because this is now clearly the third bearish divergence, I'm not going to. Now, again, it's not the third bearish divergence yet until there's a pullback. So it can keep going. And that's why for my last one, I'm just waiting on 1 minute LDPM, if that makes sense. But this was whatever. This is all the trade I needed. Just wanted to do a live trade with you guys. Like it didn't have to be for money. I made like 30, 40 bucks off this. I made 7K last week, but just to show you guys like in live action how I analyze trades, stuff like that. So we got ourselves a little win here. You guys made money, congrats. Now we're moving into the lower edges of the box. And just watch 1 minute LDPM. You don't have to sell anything until 1 minute LDPM turns bear. And once it does, I'll be out of my last call. And we'll talk for a bit, and then I'll close the stream. You don't have to sell until 1 minute LDPM moves below price. I'm sorry, moves above price. So just know for me, as soon as 1 minute LDPM moves above price, I'm going to be out of my last contract. You guys can continue holding up to this level if you want. It definitely might get there. But for me, I'm out once 1 minute LDPM moves above price. Simple, straightforward. Hey, Dunwall, I'll get to you in a minute as soon as I exit the trade. And I do, Ore, great question. He said, do you watch velocities when you exit the trade? I do, but the thing is that I already know that this is the third bearish divergence. I already know that. And so I'm looking to exit the trade as soon as there's a reason to. So as soon as 1 minute LDPM moves above price, for me, that's more than enough of a reason to sell. Because of the third bearish divergence is I'm expecting a quick trip back to the 5 minute trigger as soon as this move is done. So that's why, I have my finger on the sell button and I'm basically ready to be out as soon as 1 minute LDPM moves above price. Now, if there's more, there's more. I don't really care because nothing for me to do about that. I knew this wasn't a trade all the way up to the level unless we tap the 5 minute trigger first. And so for me, it's just time to get out. You get the move up that I wanted to. That was $1.50. We got long at 253. $1.50 trade. I was trading at 255 contracts. So, don't need to get all of it. Just wanted a little bit of a taste. I don't mind leaving some meat on the bone for the next guy. So if there was no bearish divergences, I would not exit when 1 minute LDPM moved above price. I would only exit once I start seeing bearish divergences or once you move back below the 1 minute trigger. I'd be much more comfortable staying in this position. However, because there's 2 bearish divergences, I'm looking to exit, as soon as I physically can. Christopher asked a great question. Would you consider buying a put since we're at 3 bearish divergences once 1 minute LDPM moves above price? No, I wouldn't, but I would consider buying a put at the 255.70 level. Thing is, to me, it's like, how do I say this? When things are looking bullish like this, it's very hard for me personally to buy puts. I like buying puts once things start looking bearish. Other people are really good at buying puts while price is on its way up. That's not one of my strengths, and I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I know what I have to work on and what is already good. So for me, trading breakouts is like obviously my best trading skill because I'm just using triggers or LDPM. So I'm gonna sell my last one here because I'm close enough to the level where I don't need to be greedy for the last couple of cents. So I'm fully out of this trade now, guys. Congrats if you hit it, if you made some money. Now, not to say that you won't get that level, but for me, it's enough. So hopefully the rest of you guys get this last push up. But for me, it's like at this point, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the gains. And I'm out of the trade. So my last one I sold for 22.96%. That's not bad. I definitely sold too early. Like I could have waited for 1 minute LDPM. I didn't have to sell a single one. Every single one of these candles were bullish. Every single one of these candles were green. But whatever. A lot of times I sell early. It just, again, that's another big weakness I have, like trusting the price action instead of looking at my P&L and saying, oh, this is enough money, let me sell here. I know I have to do a better job of learning to trust the actual price action and selling only when things turn bearish. But sometimes I'll see in my port like, okay, $200, like that's enough. $500, that's enough. Like 700, that's enough. And then I'll just sell well before we're at the target. So actually a trick that I started doing recently. Now this is obviously a different story because this is, we're trading not a perfect setup. There's 2 bearish divergences. This is obviously okay. And at this point, honestly, I would be looking to sell here. We're very close to that level. But you could wait until it fully touches if you want, and then just watch 1 minute LDPM. So here's the thing. You can guess when the top is, but if 1 minute LDPM doesn't agree with you, you have a 90% chance of being wrong. So 3 times here, right? I sold 3 contracts. 3 different times I tried to guess the top. I didn't follow 1 minute LDPM. And 3 times I was wrong. By the way, guys, if you're still in, here's where I would sell. If you're still in, I would sell it right here. Now, it could still keep going, but with our 3 bearish divergences and price nearing a very big level, that's where I would be fully out. So congrats, guys. That was a pretty phenomenal trade. That was $2.50 higher. So whenever you get something like that, like you have to be happy. If you guys made money, let me know in the comments if you guys were in that trade with me. The only stupid thing I did was stop out on this candle, and then I got back in over here or whatever. But yeah, great trade. So I wouldn't short this, even though I'm probably going to come back down because it just looks too strong. Like, why short something that looks strong? Did any of you guys catch a trade? Luke says made 25%. That's awesome. Very happy for you, Luke. Andrew, did you catch it? So yeah, I mean, if I would have been in a full size position, like I wouldn't need to take another trade for the next 2 days because that would have been huge. But hey, as long as oh my freaking goodness. Zoom is at 75 right now. Oh my God. That is so annoying. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Literally Jewed out perfect. Oh, that sucks. Guys, I was in 50 Zoom $75 calls. 50 of them. I would have been up another 15K right now. Where did I post about Zoom? No. So yeah, nice sell here on Tesla. Sorry to hear that, fishing man. Yeah, we can go over Roku. I just want to tweet this first. This was definitely one of my best trades this year. I did sell it extremely early, but hey, I still have put spreads open. I made some more money on that. Okay, guys, so I hope you all enjoyed. For those of you that joined this stream for the first time, just want to tell you guys that when the market is not doing this bullshit, when it's not just moving sideways, we usually do a lot more trades and have a lot more fun. But unfortunately, today's not one of those days. So we'll do it again tomorrow, and we'll try to get some more action on SPY. But hey, this was a nice Tesla trade. And imagine if we hit the 5-minute trigger, guys. Look how close we were to making a multi-backer. We were so close. If we would have gotten this this tap, I would have been in with 15 contracts. I would have made my money for the week right there. But hey, you take what you can get with the market. Remember that it's all about probabilities, and all you're trying to do is give yourself the most probability of winning. And when the LDPMs are all bullish, you have to understand that even though velocity may not be perfect, if the bid is aggressively dominating over the ask on every single time frame, you have to be worried for this push higher. And like I said, it reminded me of SPY a few weeks ago, where I told everybody to buy that tap of the 5-minute trigger. We came about 20 cents from it and then exploded higher. So I didn't want to take that same risk. So yes, I did stop out early just to be risk adverse. But I was able to hop back in time. Fisherman says, if it taps the 5-minute now, would you jump back in? I'm done, man. I'm done for the day. This isn't a great day to trade, and I just hit a trade. I think I made like 110 in total, which isn't bad at all. Yeah, no, I made more because on my last call, first of all, I got filled at 400. And my last call, I sold for 520. So that's 120 just on my last call. So I don't know exactly how much I made. It was probably closer to 200. Every week, I try to make about 1,500, 300 a day. Like, that's it. I'm not trying to like make stupid gains or anything like that. That's how much it adds up to 6K a month, which is all I really need to live at this moment in time. So once I like hit my goal for the day, I usually sell. I usually just pack it up. But if I'm in a trade that goes above, and now I'm above my daily goal or my weekly goal, and everything still looks amazing, then I'll hold. And then that's when, like on Thursday, I had a $4,000 day because of Zoom. I didn't sell just because I was up $300. The trade still looked amazing, so I just held all the way. And I only sold Friday because it's like it was a 3-day weekend, and I didn't want to risk losing all those gains. But yeah, I mean, if I'm taking a scalp trade and I'm out, and like I look at my portfolio and I made my daily quota or my weekly quota, like there's no need for me to continue trading that day. Like at that point, I'm moving on. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're able to pick something up off the streams to become better on your own. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone. Ping me on Discord if you have any questions.